and interview, or preliminary, written and interview. Now, how I am saying how I have prepared for my sole strategy that I had used is that I started preparing for the mains, in fact. Now, once you start preparing for the mains, you have an in-depth idea of the topic or of the subject. Now, what I used to do, I used to take 15 days deadline. Since I did not have much time before the examination, I used to take 15 days deadline time, and I used to give myself that, okay, 15 days you're supposed to finish your evidence, or you're supposed to finish your CPC, or you're supposed to finish your CRPC. And on the 16th day, 17th, or you keep 2-3 days, you sit down and you do all the multiple choice questions that is there for the particular subject. Now you are prepared for the mains. You know everything that is there, starting from your case laws to the internal foundational aspects, theoretical aspects, illustrations, sections, provisions. And in 3 months' time, let's say I've covered those 6 papers that comes in judiciary. You have probably 1.5 months time. What you do is that after you finish one book of multiple choice question, you can then go ahead and try to solve other books of multiple choice question. Now that will give you an edge, and probably you would have known all the kinds of questions that might come in the preliminary. So this is the first strategy for the preliminary. I used to prepare in the sense that, making notes, it consumes a lot of time. So what I used to do, I used to strategize days when I took off from work or I had holiday. I used to give a 4 and 4 hours of time for me. 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening. And with those 4 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, I used to write down. So I used to study that particular chapter, and I used to then start writing so I used to start with the section and then the provisions of the section. And after the provisions of the sections, I used to make illustrations. And after the illustrations, I used to recollect the case laws. And as I said, I used to make story writing. The case law used to be story kind. Now, till today, I have that particular small note as a note copy that I had used. My notes are being circulated in the college that I teach right now. So yes, your notes will help you a lot. If you're thinking that coaching is the only thing, I would say that no. I mean, you have to self-study. It is not smart studies in judiciary, it is hard work, honestly, in judiciaries. You have to devote yourself totally. Make notes, because that is a lifelong treasure for you. And as I said, sections, provisions, pointer-wise. If you do it pointer-wise, you know, okay, if you forget one point, you at least have the second point. But if you write it per se in a paragraph, then you might not remember. Or if you're writing in paragraph, keywords, you put it in box. So you know that these are highlighted words. Even if you do not know the prepositional part of the sections, you have the keywords, and those keywords will give you the marks. Used for my own self that had helped me, I can recommend. For me, Universal was the key book for me, Universal for judicial services. Now, in that particular Universal, what they had multiple choice questions, they had theory types of questions, they had answered those theory types of questions, they had case laws. So that helped me a lot in this particular book, the Universal. Now, you will be able to get your answers for preliminary as well as mains in the Universal book. It's a very fat book. That is one omnibus of subjects that is there. With regards to any specific subject that you're asking, let's say IPC, I had Vibhuti, Kushal Vibhuti's book, fantastic book. CRPC, I had done Kelkar's book for understanding the concepts. Then CPC, I think we had that time Takwani, if I'm not wrong. CPC Takwani was very good, and I think it's still very good. Family law, there was something called as Saxena's book. Very beautiful book, Family Law, Saxena's. Muslim law, I think Akhil Ahmed, I had used Akhil Ahmed's book for Muslim law. Which are the subjects that you want to? For limitations, I had just done Bare Act. Limitations, I had done Bare Act. Specific Relief Act, I had done Bare Act. There was no specific book for that. One advice that I can give you, which had helped me, is that there are small guidebooks. I mean, this is being live recorded. I should not say this, but since it had helped me, and I am really interested in helping the participants, I would say this, but it should not be taken otherwise that I'm promoting or doing anything. Allahabad Law Agency's books are very good. The small guidebooks are very good. It's beautiful. Now, there are 3 sections to the question paper. Section A will have CPC, Section B will have CRPC, and Section C will have evidence. Assuming that you have done evidence, your strong area is evidence. You start with the strongest area of the sheet. So you write, unless and until there is a clear instruction in the question paper that you have to do it section wise, first section A, section B, and section C. If there is no such instruction, then you can start with the best attemptable answer that you know, where you know all the sections, where you know all the ingredients, illustrations, examples, as well as the case laws. You start with that. Now, the best way is that if you write the section, that gives a very good impression. So write the section, underline the keywords, very important, because let's say that someone is correcting a paper and you have highlighted, you have underlined, then the examiner knows, okay, he has written or she has written this particular word, so he knows that particular section. So highlight or underline, unless it is again specifically instructed that you're not supposed to do anything of such type thing. Then you highlight it, then you, after the sections, you give examples. And remember, in judiciary, you have problematic questions. So you need to start the answer with an introduction of what this particular, so for example, if a question contains or a problem contains a topic on specific performance, a topic of limitation, a topic on, let's say, substantive punishment. So you start that this particular question involves a complex combination of legal aspects of specific relief act, of limitations act, and the criminal of IPC. And then you try to explain that so and so this particular fact, in this fact, this would be the law. And because this is the law, I'm also substantiating my answer with an example or an illustration. And then you conclude the answer.